Sports Center. We're entering the final day of the regular season in the NBA, and the Wild Wild West is must-see TV. 4 teams are fighting for 3 spots to stay out of the play-in tournament. The Nuggets have arguably the easiest path, a win versus Houston, and they're in the playoffs as the 4 seed. Plus, losses by either the Warriors or the Wolves would also secure the Nuggets a playoff spot. As for the Timberwolves, if they beat a Jazz team that's heading into the draft lottery, they'll avoid the play-in. That task should be easier with Anthony Edwards avoiding suspension after getting his 18th technical foul rescinded, so he's available. The most pivotal game of the afternoon is on ESPN at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. The Clippers visit the Warriors. If LA wins and Denver loses, then the Clippers leap to the 4 seed. The Clippers win guarantees that they're the 4th or 5th seed, but they cannot finish 6th due to tiebreakers. As for the Warriors, they cannot finish higher than 6th, but can clinch that 6th seed with a win against LA or a loss by the Timberwolves. It's the final day of the NBA regular season, so you got to have Tim McMahon on the show to talk some hoops, right? So, Tim, Steph Curry re-injured his thumb on Friday against the Portland Trail Blazers. What's his status heading into the game?
Howdy, Scooby. Officially, Steph is questionable. I would be shocked, and people within the Warriors would be shocked if he's not on the floor today. The question isn't so much, will Steph Curry play? It's how much will that thumb affect him? As you said, he sprained it on Sunday. It is an injury that he had earlier this season in early January. Now, he came back in January and still managed to shoot 40+% from three-point range. But we'll see how that feels for him just a couple of days after suffering this recent re-aggravation.
All right, so there's still a lot to play for in the Western Conference. Starting with the Timberwolves, they got a little bit of a boost today with Anthony Edwards getting that technical foul rescinded. So what is the latest on that team and Ant?
Well, listen, you might say, hey, it's the Utah Jazz. They don't have any interest in winning. That's a team that right now is tied for number 1 in the lottery standings with the Washington Wizards and probably doesn't want to screw it up. Guess what, though? Ant has been suspended 1 game this season. When he got that 16th technical, it was against the Jazz in Utah, and the Timberwolves managed to lose that game. So certainly a relief for the Timberwolves that Ant Edwards will be in uniform today, and they can stay out of the play-in scenario with a win. Now, the Houston Rockets raised some eyebrows around the league when the injury reports came out. Most of those injury reports for teams are extremely long. Not for the Rockets. They are playing all of their key guys today after giving most of them a rest in the last game. It will probably be a preseason type of tune-up against the Nuggets, who can clinch 4 with a win. The Phoenix Suns, the painful, miserable Phoenix Suns season is finally going to end today in Sacramento. Along with that, almost certainly will the one-and-done tenure of Mike Budenholzer as the Suns coach. The widespread anticipation throughout the league is that Matt Ishbia, the Suns owner for the 3rd time in 3 years, will move on from his head coach at the end of the season.
Wow, that is back-to-back-to-back years that they have fired their head coach. A lot of drama in the NBA, and Tim has everything for us. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, some division crowns were awarded last. It comes to an end today. Golden State has been a completely different team with Jimmy Butler since February 8th. They're 23-7 over that span. 3rd best record in the league behind the Thunder and the Celtics. The Clippers, they enter today's matchup on a 7-game win streak. That's tied with the Bucks for the longest active win streak in the NBA. The Clips haven't won 8 straight games since 2023 when it won 9 straight. And if LA wins, Denver loses, then the Clippers leap to the 4th seed. Clipper win guarantees that they're the 4th or the 5th seed, but they can't finish 6th due to tiebreakers. And as for the Warriors, they can't finish any higher than 6, but with that 6th seed, they'll clinch that with a win or a loss to the T-Wolves. So with that at stake, let's bring in our Anscape NBA reporter, David Dennis Jr., and let's talk specifically Golden State and the Clippers. What matchup are you looking for in that game, David?
Yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of offensive firepower, a lot of offensive stars in this game, but this is a defensive matchup. This is going to be a rock fight defensively between these two teams, which means the matchup that everybody has to keep an eye on is that defense anchored by Draymond Green on the Warriors side and the defense anchored by Ivica Zubac on that Clippers side. That Warriors team has been a top 5 defense ever since they got Jimmy Butler there, and that is why Draymond Green is looking at a Defensive Player of the Year potential for when this season is over. Zubac, on the other hand, is anchoring a team that is the second best half-court defense in the league. Last time he played the Warriors, I know Jimmy Butler wasn't there, he had 5 blocks. So yes, there's going to be a lot of star power offensively, but this game is going to be defensive tug of war between these two teams.
And let's not sleep on Zubac. Since March 1st, he's averaging a double-double, 20 points and 12.5 rebounds per game. All right, let's talk about keys to the game for both squads. Let's start with the Warriors.
The Warriors, now we can talk that offensive star power. The Warriors is about Stephen Curry. I know there's some things worrying him about that thumb and that injury with the thumb, but this guy is playing at a high level when his back against the wall. Look at what he did, 52, 37, 36 against that Nuggets, Grizzlies, Lakers trio whenever his back was against the wall. This is the time for Stephen Curry to show up and lead this team because they are going to try to do whatever they can to slow him down. On the Clippers side, this is about Kawhi Leonard and what he can do against Jimmy Butler. How can he be defensively a nag to Jimmy Butler? And if anybody on that Warriors team can stop Kawhi over the last 2 months, he's been averaging more than 25 points, looking like prime Kawhi Leonard. Last time he was in a high-pressure situation against that Warriors team, he was holding up the Finals MVP trophy. This is about Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, and overall, I cannot wait for this game. This is a Game 7 level game before the playoffs start. I am so excited for this game. This is wings, pizza on the couch. Do not disturb basketball.
I'm with you. Steph Curry says the same thing, treating it like a Game 7. By the way, you can see the Clippers Warriors right here on ESPN, 3:30 Eastern. That is David Dennis Jr. Thank you, David.
West. A Timberwolves win over the Jazz means Minnesota would avoid the play-in, and good news for them, they do have Anthony Edwards today after all, after Friday's technical that would have resulted in a suspension was rescinded. The Nuggets are in Houston today. They can clinch a top 6 seed with a win. They can also do so with a loss from either the Warriors or the Timberwolves, which brings us to this. The Warriors hosting the Clippers on ESPN. Golden State can be the 6th seed with a win or a Minnesota loss. If the Clippers win, they clinch a playoff spot, while the Warriors fall into the play-in. Now, this game is so big that we have 2 gentlemen here joining us on their birthday. Quinn Richardson and Anscape senior writer David Dennis Jr. We just figured out it was David and Q's birthday in the commercial break. So, first of all, happy birthday to both of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Happy birthday, Q. My birthday twin. We're doing it together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy B-Day, bro.
There you go. We got a couple of Aries breaking this down. All right, Q. Let's make it worth it since you're here celebrating your birthday with us. Let's talk about Steph and that thumb. You're a shooter. Tell me what you're going to be looking for in this game early on.
Yeah, Hannah, I'm going to be straight from the get out. I'll be interested to see if he has it taped, because that'll tell me how bad it really is, if it's still hurting that much or if he feels that he needs to protect it. If he doesn't have tape on it, I'll assume that he's feeling great and he's not even thinking about it. But for me, I mean, if he has to tape it, I'm nowhere near the shooter that Steph Curry is, or nowhere I wasn't, but I hated to have anything on my hands, any type of tape or anything that was unnatural. I didn't like to wear finger sleeves or anything. I wanted to feel the ball natural and how that touch with the ball. So I'll be interested to see if he has it taped, because I think that could affect it. But with him, who knows? He's the greatest shooter ever. It may mean nothing with the tape or without it.
Right. I mean, Q, by the way, I mean, nobody is the kind of shooter that Steph is, so you don't even have to qualify that, my friend. Okay, but let's say he's not at 100%. And even if he is, there is just so much at stake here, David, for the Warriors. What are they going to need from playoff Jimmy?
Yeah, so even if Steph is 100%, the thing that Tyronn Lue and that Clippers team, what he does is he always wants to take out that first option. Steph is going to be seeing double teams all game, which means that this is playoff Jimmy time. I know the playoffs don't technically start, but this is time for playoff Jimmy. And what I want to see is aggressiveness, especially in the paint. Zubac is a defensive monster for that Clippers team. They have the second best half-court defense. Jimmy Butler has to penetrate that defense, get to the paint, and get to the free throw line. The last 2 games, he's had 28 free throws in these last 2 games. That is the type of productivity we need from Jimmy, because that'll unlock that Warriors offense against a very, very stingy Clippers defense.
Yeah, and let's go on the other side with the Clippers offensively. They are rolling, as we've seen as of late. Kawhi Leonard is healthy, and he is just killing it. Even Draymond Green was saying he just looks incredible right now. What must he bring to the table today, Q?
They need Kawhi to be who he's been. This whole stretch, he just won Player of the Week, averaging about 26-some points. He's averaging 21 for the season, but they need him to be the aggressive Kawhi. This is the best he's looked in a stretch where he's been healthy, out there playing. And the thing about him is he looks like he's at all-star level right now. If this was a whole full season, he would have been an all-star and possibly all-NBA playing at this level. And so that's the exciting thing for the Clippers. You don't want to force anything and put too much on this game. You keep the plan. Whatever they've been doing with Kawhi, stick straight to it and keep him available.
I would go even a step further with that. You don't keep the plan. You play 40 minutes plus for your stars, because you cannot risk being in the play-in, but also you get a week break if you're not in that play-in. Kawhi Leonard, you want the healthiest Kawhi you could possibly have going into the playoffs. They need a break. Both teams do, but especially the Clippers and especially Kawhi. You have to go pedal to the metal for this game and give me the best Kawhi Leonard. I need 2019 NBA Finals MVP level Kawhi Leonard for that Clippers team. Worry about that rest for this next week. If you can get out of that play-in, play everybody as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, Q, I just saw you agreeing with David there, your birthday twin.
No doubt. I mean, listen, I would fall short, David. I don't agree with the pedal to the metal with Kawhi. I would be willing to do that with everybody else. I feel like whatever they got, that they've been working with Kawhi, keep it in place. We don't want to buck the system, man. He's too important and too valuable. But go pedal to the metal with everybody else if you want to. But Kawhi, we gotta treat him like he's fragile material, bro. We can't go crazy on him.
He did go 42 minutes the other night, Friday, against the Kings, and had 20 points now in 14 straight games. Unbelievable. Listen, David, we will let you go celebrate your birthday now. So run, be free. Q, though, you got to come back, man. You got to come back before you celebrate.
No doubt.
There we have a little music for both of you guys.
Hey.
I love it.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. I'll take it.
Happy birthday to both of you guys. You're the best.
Thank you.
Tyler Fulgham now with us to give us a betting perspective. Is it your birthday? I just want to be sure. Guess what, guys? Don't. Please, I got to get that out of the way. Look, no single NBA game today on the schedule has as much importance as Clippers and Warriors does. So what's your best bet in that one?
Yeah, it's going to be a playoff-style Game 7 type game for these two teams. And they have been two of the best teams in the NBA since the trade deadline. I think this is a game, though, that favors the Clippers plus the points. I think they can win this game outright. We've seen the market move in their favor from 4.5-point dogs to now 3.5-point dogs, maybe because people are a little fearful of Steph's thumb, but it also probably has to do with the fact that the Clippers have been balling. They've won 17 of their last 20 games. They've covered 14 of those 20, so I like them plus the points in this matchup. Again, I think they can win it outright. I also, because I think it's going to be a playoff-style game where we slow things down, defensive intensity ratchets up, people are playing extended minutes in the upper 30s, maybe even lower 40s. I think we see this game come in under 218.5. Again, since the trade deadline, these have been two of the top 10 deep.
ESPN today at 3:30 Eastern, and the simplest way to look at it is whoever wins guarantees that they make the playoffs. Golden State could still avoid the play-in with the Timberwolves loss. That's unlikely, though, and the Clippers can still clinch with a loss by either the Nuggets or the Timberwolves, but you don't want to put it up to fate, right? So it is great to have NBA reporter Tim McMahon and NBA analyst Quentin Richardson here with us. Tim, I'm going to start with you. Steph Curry, aggravated right thumb, could play a huge part in today's outcome. The Warriors star said Friday that he's going to be all right. But what are you hearing less than 5 hours before we tip?
Howdy, Shay. He's officially listed as questionable, but I'm told it will be a massive surprise to the Warriors if Steph Curry doesn't play today. You heard him the other night. He said this is a Game 7 type of vibe. I think the question is, how much does this right thumb affect him today? Now, as you mentioned, it is a re-aggravation. It's an injury he suffered originally in early January. He still managed to shoot 40+% from three-point range in the month of January. So I believe Steph will be in the Warriors lineup today, and we will see if it's the Steph Curry that we've been watching for all these years.
Okay, Q. So if the Warriors are going to get that critical week of rest that they desperately need, especially now with this injury to Steph Curry, what needs to happen today in order for Golden State to get the job done on their home floor?
We know what the Warriors do, Shay. They shoot. They shoot threes, and they shoot them at volume. They're going to need to go out there and have one of their best performances because you know T. Lue, he likes to take away option one. So they're going to be throwing everything at Steph, trying to make it difficult for him. So Moses Moody, Brzezinski, Kuminga, all of those extra guys are going to need to knock down shots out there. And also, when you go to containing Zubac, this guy here does not get all of the Hallmark cards and all of the love that he deserves. But when you go in those locker rooms, they played here in Orlando a few weeks ago. And when I went in the locker room, box out Zubac was all over the board in big, bold letters. In that game, he still had 20 rebounds, Shay. So he is an issue.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem today. Let's stay in the West, but we're going to shift to the Suns now, Tim. No postseason in the desert for the first time in 4 seasons. Mike Budenholzer is fielding questions about his future in year 1 of his deal. Tim, what are you hearing about Bud?
Yeah, it is a near certainty that this will be the last game that Mike Budenholzer coaches for the Phoenix Suns. And look, not ideal. That will mean 3 years of Matt Ishbia's ownership tenure, 3 head coach firings. That's not the math that you want. You also don't want the most expensive team in league history to not even have a chance to sniff the freaking play-in. Are you kidding me? This has been a complete disaster of a season in Phoenix. I believe Bud will be fired sooner than later, and that'll be the beginning of probably several significant changes for the Suns.
Yeah, and look, Q, I'm going to go to you now. Changing coaches hasn't really solved problems in Phoenix. We know that. The NBA also lets a lot of teams in the playoffs. As Tim just mentioned, for them not even to sniff the play-in is a problem. So if they're going to change coaches, do you expect some change with the players this offseason as well, Q?
I mean, all signs point to it. Everything we've been hearing all season and all the talk sounds like KD could possibly be leaving and headed somewhere. And although Bradley Beal has the trade clause, I could see if they found a place and everything worked out that he would agree to waive it just so that he could get to the next destination. But, yeah, I would expect that it's going to be huge changes and they will probably look a lot different as a team. And, you know, obviously with a new coach, as Tim is reporting. So, yeah, it's big changes coming in the desert.
Bradley Beal, 2 years left on a $110 million contract. He'll finish with his lowest points per game since his rookie season. Not great in the desert. Quentin and Tim, we appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
And coming up, our top plays feature some remarkable scoring plays where these goals rank in our top 10. Coming up on SportsCenter. SportsCenter, the Warriors are monitoring Steph Curry's health after he aggravated a right thumb injury Friday night, banging his thumb in the first quarter of their win over Portland. He played in the second and the third quarters. He did sit out the fourth. Golden State was up pretty big at that point. He's going to be much needed against the Clippers today. The winner gets a top 6 spot in the West and gets to avoid the play-in. He's all over at senior NBA insider Shams Charania joins us now with the latest. So obviously they need Steph feeling as good as possible this afternoon. What can you share about Golden State's treatment on that thumb since he re-aggravated the injury?
And the good news is that x-rays showed there's no fracture in that thumb, but this is the same injury that he's been dealing with since January. He aggravated it the other night in Portland, and this is going to be a lot about playing through pain for Stephen Curry. I'm told the Warriors are going to work to loosen and get mobility in that thumb. They're taking this game very seriously. This is a make-or-break game for them to get into the playoffs. I would expect a great level of seriousness from him, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. It's obvious that Stephen Curry is going to be dealing with a level of pain in that thumb, but he vowed the other night that he's going to play, and I think that's his plan. That's the expectation around the Warriors.
Yeah, Warriors are favored by 4.5. That line is changing just a little bit. And obviously, as you well know, they could use some rest. They could use to avoid that play-in. That game's at 3:30 Eastern right here on ESPN. There's also a couple of other injuries that we're monitoring. Okay, so we have Jaylen Brown with that troublesome right knee. We also have that very frightening blood clot that Damian Lillard is dealing with in his right calf. So if you could, just get us up to speed on each one of those guys as we're getting ready to start the playoffs, and start with Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, starting with Jaylen Brown here, Hannah, he underwent pain-killing injections in his troublesome right knee, as Ramona Shelburne with ESPN reported here for us. And the full expectation is that Jaylen Brown will be ready for the playoffs. He's been dealing with a bone bruise in his knee for weeks now. He just has not been able to get it healed. But last year's MVP will have a week of rest before the playoffs. Damian Lillard, on the other hand, March 18th, he's been sidelined since that point. But there is optimism, I'm told, that he's going to be cleared at some point before the playoffs. Doctors believe that he is progressing with that blood clot, that blood clot is shrinking by the day in his calf. He's going to have weekly doctor meetings. So there's another one coming up this week that will be very key to see whether he's going to be able to make it back for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that is really, really frightening. So we wish him well. He'll just have to take as much time as possible. You know, Shams, I mean, it's been absolutely crazy. I'm sure you really haven't seen anything like these coaching changes this late in the season, what we saw in Memphis and then what we've seen in Denver. I'm wondering, what else should we expect in the coming days?
Hey, and I expect there to be a pretty good turnover when it comes to coaching and front office changes across the NBA here in the coming weeks. I expect there to be multiple coaching changes, multiple front office changes. One we won't see, though, is in Portland. Chauncey Billups, I'm told, has agreed to a multi-year contract extension with the Trailblazers. They just extended their general manager, Joe Cronin, earlier this week, and now they have fortified their leadership structure by bringing an extension with Chauncey Billups. He's completing his 4th season with the Blazers, and now he's going to be under a contract for multiple years moving forward. They have gone 22-18 the second half of the year. They've had a top 5 defense, a top 3 transition defense team during that span since January 19th, and he has really developed a lot of their younger players. Danny Avdija, Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson. There's been a lot of great player development there in Portland. Now they have a sense of clarity moving forward on Chauncey Billups. He was going to be very, very well sought after if he did make it to the open market. This was the final guaranteed year of his deal.
Such a great story. His transition from player to coach is really inspiring. And I know you have a conversation coming up with Pistons star Cade Cunningham on NBA Countdown at noon Eastern.